You guys have psychic abilities. I'm sorry, but you do. You always have. You've always had this ability. It's just that humanity has forgotten that we know how to do this, and we've used so many other things to help us get answers and do soul searching, so many other things apart from looking inside ourselves and trusting our intuition. Some of you are already practicing this and you're comfortable doing that. You like call it your gut feeling. These abilities to send out your antenna into the ethers and to open them up and to pick up energy and get codes, receive downloads, receive messages, just know if your child needs you, or just knowing that you should call your cousin abroad and check in on them. These are your natural psychic abilities. We can call them sensory awareness abilities. We can call them your sensitivity. I think that societally, the word psychic has been scary because it's been so mystified over the years, like a woman with a turban and like a crystal ball and like all of these, things. But really, it's just so simple. It's as simple as feeling something in your heart, as like having a vision come to you or a thought come to you or an idea, and trusting it and not saying, oh, it's just my imagination. And you guys do this all the time. So the way that you can get better and better with this is practicing. And the way that I get the most clarified visions and downloads, connecting, like grounding and centering myself. And then, I feel like I should do a class on this because there's so many awesome practices you can do to enhance these abilities. There's so many cool things you can do. I'm going to share a few about them right now. And again, I said this in my video yesterday: psychic, highly sensitive, empath, telepathic. These all mean the same thing. Highly sensitive, it all means the same thing. So one practice you can do, I love the orange practice. So you start to envision an orange and close your eyes and envision the texture of the orange, envision holding the orange, envision the weight of the orange, just imagining this, envisioning the color of the orange, and then getting as much sensory awareness mentally about the orange as you possibly can, peeling open the orange and feeling and connecting to what the mist spray sounds like, smells like, and feels like, and then taking off a piece and imagining that you are eating it. I guarantee you by the end of this exercise, you will possibly even be salivating because of how much you psychically can connect to your senses. Another incredible practice, and I've done this with friends, I've done this with family, I've done this in a class that I took myself, is taking a photograph of somebody you do not know and somebody who has consented to this exercise, and just reading the photograph, say the first things that come to your mind, or write them all down, and make sure that you center yourself, that you come into very clear energetic space, open space to receive energy, to receive messages and downloads. And then look at the picture, look at the photograph, and then without judgment, just write down every single thing that comes to your mind. Just write it down. And in the end, check in with the person who gave you the photograph and ask and tell them everything that came to you. And I guarantee you will be so surprised at how psychically connected you are already with your senses. This is something so natural to us that can help us be closer to each other, bring us together more. So once you start practicing this, it's really cool because you can visually send love to people. I send roses to people. I send coats of gold, like gold mist over people for love. And it's really funny because I've done it in a public setting before, and I had someone call me out on it and say, "Did you just send out a charge?" And I was like, "What?" And they were like, "Yeah, like I felt you like send something out." It was in like an event, in like an immersive event we were doing. There was like a sound bath meditation, and I sent out a blessing of gold, love to the room, like Christ light, golden love. And I said, "Yeah, I did." I said, "Did you see a color by any chance?" And she said, "Oh wait, let me think. Yellow?" You guys, I almost fell over. So when you send people prayer, when you send positive thought, like, it matters. You can help so much just from right where you are. So I hope you will practice. This is also why we don't always need to like be so physically active to cope with problems. Like you can do so much telepathically from right where you are. Or let me say that another way. You can do so much by praying for someone right where you are. You guys see how it's the same thing? It is not nothing. It is not nothing. I've sent charges to people and had them like text me and like say, do you just send me a rose? But this is also because they're open to it, because they're open to connecting with these amazing abilities that we all have. So it's really cool because, you know, we all have people that are challenging to deal with in our lives, and instead of having to verbally, you know, interact with them, we can just send them love, and we can just send them positive thoughts and intention, and that's gonna be enough. Also for, you know, catastrophes around the world, we can send love to those places. So we can do a lot with it. Send me questions and let me know your thoughts. I get asked this question a lot: how to protect yourself. You know, while we're talking about sending out love and all these things, going out into the matrix, being in the grocery store, being, you know, in public places, you know, and again, this is for empaths, this is for the highly sensitives who know what I'm talking about when there's a lot of energy around. Having your just boundaries and not feeling like you have to assess or read everything. Like just because there's a lot of energy around doesn't mean you have to connect. You can just be your own vessel. So before you leave, I like to zip myself up in golden energy. I personally activate my Merkaba, which is that. You guys can look up about the Merkaba. I'm definitely going to do a workshop about the Merkaba because I learned a lot about it in my Magdalene Reiki course. But best ways of protection, I love calling on Archangel Michael. I love putting Christ's light over my golden light over my auric field, and I also love using the violet flame. Let me know what you guys do. And lastly, it's also really important to raise your own frequency before you leave your home, whether that's doing boxed breathing, you know, 4-4-4, in 4, hold for 4, out for 4, whether that's doing a prayer in the morning, whether it's writing your gratitudes. Do what you need to do to raise your frequency before you go out into the world, because once you do that, your frequency changes, obviously. And it's almost like there's this sort of energy around you, this bubble around you, and you will notice that the vampires will get deflected. They won't be able to disturb your auric field. They just bounce off. They get deflected from it. Once you uplift, raise your vibration, and have a positive charge, it really affects others in a positive way. And others will treat you differently. So trust me, try it and go for it. You guys can do it. You guys can play and can see the results. Let me know.